Let's have a look at limit or vanishing points. If we look at this picture and we follow the road around to the furthest point that we can see to be clear on our side of the road, that's where the hedge and the road meet, that is the limit or the vanishing point. In other words, it's the furthest point that we can see that is clear. Now we're going to use a couple of clips and the cars that are driving along the roads to show you exactly where the limit or the vanishing points are. Let's look at limit or vanishing points in a little bit more detail. The sign that we saw as we entered this road was national speed limit. The national speed limit for this type of road is 60. That's a maximum speed, not a speed that we should try to achieve. We always need to make sure when we're driving on roads like this that we drive at a speed that is suitable for the road and the traffic conditions. So if we watch the car that's in front of us, now we see it, now we don't. That's our vanishing point. From this point onwards, we don't know what's going on around that corner. We don't know whether those cars that have just gone out of view are actually stationary. They might have had to stop for something. Until we can see around the corner, we don't know what to expect. Now we're going to move forwards a little bit and then we're going to freeze frame. Now it appears as if the road opens up a little bit and we might be thinking about putting our foot down to build our speed up, but we still can't see around the corner. We still don't know what's going on. So until these vehicles come back into view, we need to be cautious. The road then opens up and if we wanted to, we could possibly increase our speed at this point. Obviously the traffic in front is dictating the speed that we can travel at. So let's review that. We're on the same section of road, 60 miles an hour maximum speed limit. A limit point doesn't have to be that position where the car disappears out of view as it goes round a bend. A limit point can be when a car goes out of view as it crests a hill, and you can see the vehicles in front are doing precisely that. So as they go out of view, that would still be the limit point. In other words, that's the furthest point that we can see where the road is clear. Now we can see the car disappearing around this corner to the left, so we need to move over to the right hand side, because by moving over to the right, it does give us a slightly better view as we go round the corner, but we don't want to move so far over to the right that it brings us into conflict with the cars that are coming towards us. So we're not talking about straddling that white line. As we're coming into this bend here, same thing. If we move a little bit more over to the right hand side, which we're doing, we can actually see that car remains in view. If we stayed more to the left, then we wouldn't be able to see quite as clearly. So on left hand bends, we move slightly more towards the centre of the road, and on right hand bends we move a little bit more over to the left hand side. On the other clips we've been using other cars to show us where the limit points are. If we look ahead of us now, we can see where the limit point is on this road. It's where the road and the hedge line meet. So as we're driving towards this bend, we're moving a little bit more over towards the right, and as we're going around the bend, we can see that the bend is opening up quite nicely. So we do get quite a good view as we're going around that corner. There's a slight crest in the road here and the road bends off to the left, so we can't quite see what's coming, so we might be thinking about backing off a little bit at this point. Now looking forwards, the limit point is over to the right where the hedge and the road meet, and again now we're moving over to the left a little bit, which allows us a better view as we're going around the corner. Now once we get round this corner, we can see the road opens up quite nicely, so at this point we could possibly increase our speed if we wanted to, or maybe just maintain the speed that we've achieved. Coming off a 30 mile an hour speed limit onto a 50, so I'm going to start to increase my speed now. Checking my mirror, increasing my speed. Looking ahead, I can see a sign on the left telling me there's a double bend. I can see the road bends round to the left. Checking the limit point, checking my mirror again, moving slightly over to the right hand side to give me a better view. I can see the bend unfolding nicely as I'm coming into the bend, still maintaining speed. Accelerating again, now I can see the road opening up. Looking at the line of the telegraph poles, I can see they bear round to the right, so that's telling me I'm coming up to a right bend. Moving slightly left, checking my mirror again, still maintaining my speed. Accelerating a little bit at this point up to 50 miles an hour. I can see the road bends round to the left, so I'm just going to back off slightly, move over a little bit to the right, change down to a lower gear. I can see around the bend now, so I'm increasing my speed as I come out of the bend. Accelerating now, upper gear. I can see the road bends round to the right, that van's just told me that. As I come into the bend, I'm looking towards the limit point again, moving slightly over towards the left hand side. I can see the road again is opening up quite nicely. Still maintaining speed, increasing my speed a little bit, back up to 50 miles an hour. I can see following the tree line that the road bends round to the left. Checking my mirror as I'm coming into the bend, moving slightly further over to the right towards the centre of the road. I can see around the corner now, I can see the sign telling me there's a double bend ahead. Slow on the road, so I'm backing off the accelerator. I can see a speed limit change to 30, using my brake, slowing down. It's not that straightforward when you drive on country roads. There are things that you need to think about. You should take into account factors such as adverse cambers, that's the slope of the road, uneven or slippery road surfaces, the weather conditions. You can see this road is a little bit damp. The visibility on the day that you're driving down the road, whether or not any road junctions come into the road that you're driving along, and of course the speed and the line that you take as you go around these bends. Remember when you're going into a bend to do the braking before the bend. Don't do the braking on the bend, you might lose control of the vehicle. A failure to judge line and speed through bends correctly can result in a loss of traction. You might strike a curb, and that might result in you swinging into the oncoming traffic. Don't forget to take into account the effect that loads and passengers may have on the handling characteristics of the vehicle when negotiating bends. So in conclusion, limit point analysis helps you to decide how quickly you can safely drive when based on the distance between your car and what you can see to be clear on your side of the road. Taking into account all other factors, including the condition of the vehicle that you're driving, but most importantly, your own abilities.